So Al Everett, make your way on up, sir. Puddle Innovations. How are you, sir? Big Puddle? All right, and I'll be right here if you need me. Yeah. You can see your screen too.
Okay, great. Al Everett with Puddle Innovations. I'm part of a quartet of people. My other partner, Pete Price, is down there. Pete will come up and help us with the Q&A. But basically, one of the things that we try to do at Puddle is to focus on the needs of the customer. And all of us, we come from the built environment, commercial interiors. I spent a number of years at Steelcase. Herman Miller, Pete, comes from the industry too as well. All of our partners did. And so a lot of people like John and Mary, a voice of the customer, really drove why I'm here tonight. And one of the things that we found is that from a problem standpoint, in the built environment, one of the huge issues is with wiring and cabling, whether it's new construction, existing construction, or whatever. And the goal is to get those wires all to go bye-bye, okay? And that's really been our challenge, and to help those clients, because it's been an issue. If any of you ever been around the globe, presentation in conference rooms, there's always been an issue of compatibility, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's been one of our goals and one of our ways that we decided we wanted to fix for our clients. And it really started in the built environment where you have everything's tethered, whether it be a conference room, whether it be focused in the office where you have teaming now. Of course, that's a big word, teaming, being very, very big. And so our goal was to give higher speeds, simple connectivity, make sure that everything was compatible. You don't have to have transition pieces in between, and then have greater flexibility of your products in terms of how you apply them in the environment. And we did that by using 60 gigahertz and actually splitting some signals in doing that. In doing the Puddle solution itself, for example, in a conference room, you have the ability not only to have reconfiguration capability, but you have the ability to reconfigure the space based on your need. And so this could even be a hospitality suite in a healthcare organization too as well. And so what happens is that we found that evolving the product, blazing speeds, we're typically about 10 times faster than conventional Wi-Fi. We actually take the Wi-Fi signal and enhance it. And then we provide a point-to-point connection, or point-to-multipoint connection. And then we team in a collaborative switching environment too as well. And these are all the key things, but the agnostic portion of it is huge, because from a technology standpoint, you don't have to fuss around. It doesn't matter what flavor of product it is. The signal is agnostic to that. Standard Wi-Fi on the left, we take that Wi-Fi signal and enhance it. And Puddle, what it does is take that 60 gigahertz signal and it beamforms, okay? And what we figured out how to do, we actually split that signal, that beam, until it's almost like an explosion, okay, and bouncing around in a room. But one of the things that's a little different than conventional Wi-Fi is that that signal stays within the room. It does not leave. And so if you're out in the hallway or whatnot in a transition area, it doesn't go through glass, doesn't go through floors, doesn't go through the ceiling. It stays in the room. So what goes in the Puddle stays in the Puddle. Thus the name Puddle Technologies, okay? And so we enhance it by using a hub. What you see on the left is where we have to do it today, because most of the technology hasn't caught up yet. The 60 gigahertz is starting to go into the components right now. Ultimately, what will happen is, like you look in the lower right down there, everything will be completely wireless. There'll be no wires or anything needed in the environment. We actually have a working prototype out there where you can actually see us with the units too as well. Okay. Here we go. There you can see some of the internal components that are off the shelf right now, but obviously we need to have some custom ones done. We're an early startup. Right now there's what we call a point-to-point technology that is out there. We actually have a patent on point-to-many. So we like to joke and say we have the cookie. And then if you look at how many John and Marys are out there, we think there's a lot of vertical markets where it can play. And We're looking at the ones that are highlighted were the ones in medical, for example, is one that's huge, which you had last month. Number of operating rooms now that look like this. Some of them get a little bit better. Munson may look like that. But if you use Puddle, we think it'll look this way moving forward. And so imaging is very huge. Learning is huge in terms of digital cadavers now, working in teams and training and learning. VR, wireless VR is absolutely huge right now. And then the gaming industry has just gone through the roof. And so from an entertainment standpoint, no more check, check, check. We get rid of that. And so our ask is, I almost made it.
Close.
I almost made it, yeah.
So Matt's going to reset the timer. You can finish your statement real quick, and we'll get into Q&A.
Yeah.
There you
Now,
go.
our ask is for someone that has some domain expertise in one of these verticals where we can play, because we feel we can play in all of them, and we need to get to a prototype like this moving forward.
Awesome. So Pete's going to come up and fire away at your questions.
Questions? Yes, sir.
What about, you brought up healthcare, what about RF or energy? Does it have any bearing, any problems with the Puddle?
One thing that we found is when we're talking about Puddle, it really opens up a lot of different areas. And I think your area is something that we can explore. There's really no limits to Puddle right now.
You said you're still building the device, so have you verified any of the specs, like through NIST, for example?
All we have right now, sir, is a proof of concept. We can prove that we can split.
How do you prove it? Like, for example, you should be able to do electromagnetic simulations with like a software package like ZMAX, right? So. But that's the first thing you do.
Yes, we can. Again, we're just in that proof of concept phase that we can split the signal, the 60 gigahertz signal, and we can go to point to multi-point. Where it goes from there is wide open. Yes, sir.
Yeah, will this solution require adapters and transceivers to existing devices?
Yes, in fact, that one slide had, it shows where you have to take a little dongle and connect it to the device. But right now, the 60 chips now are starting to come out now, and not fast enough for us. But once those chips get out there, this thing's going to feel it's going to take off.
Yes, sir.
Are the devices still IPv4 addressable with standard packet framing? And is there a client saturation limit on this Puddle with that explosion? How does the actual communication work?
Ooh,
Probably the best. Boy, well, how we can do that in 5 minutes? Probably the, yeah, and probably the best way to describe it is it's almost like going down a highway because it does a reuse of the signal when it explodes, and so it has a reuse of the signal, unlike conventional Wi-Fi.
So more meshing from client to client?
Exactly, exactly.
What standards are you building upon or are near your space that, have a similar capability? Or are you looking to take what you're doing here and work with a standards body to standardize?
We're looking at taking and working with a standards body. In fact, we've had some interest from DoD, for example, because of the security issues that are within DoD. They're doing a lot of work with drones and being able to. This whole thing really evolved from space, and of course, in space there's no oxygen, and so the signals can go rampant.
60
Yeah.
gigahertz
Yeah.
gets eaten up in space
Mhm.
because it doesn't get eaten up in space. It keeps going. Here on Earth, it does get eaten up. So it does not go through walls. It does not go through. It does not go through glass. So it's a very secure way to communicate. That's where we're going. We really started out in the conference room environment. That's where we really began. That's where our roots are, and it just kind of blossomed out into a lot of different verticals.
Why is this better than like Google Chromecast? And if it is better, how much better?
Well, it's the wireless part. It's a 60 gigahertz. Chrome is not 60 gigahertz. There's speed and no lag in the communication. That's where we shine.
We have a go ahead.
So in your proof of concept, are you securing the technology that it works, or are you securing that there's a market for it?
Securing, well, we're trying to, what our ask is here, we're looking for a partner to take one of those verticals that Al shared with us and just enhance that. That's where we really want to go, if that answers your question.
You mentioned there are two other partners, and you talked about the commercial office space industry. Are your partners include electrical engineers, or did you guys develop this in-house, or did you outsource it?
This is real interesting because none of us are EEs at all. That's why we actually had some conversations out in the valley, and they wanted to know what four graybeards from West Michigan with no engineering degrees, how'd they come up with this? And we just basically stumbled across it because of the problems from our customers that were just always constantly frustrated by the cost of, especially on the East Coast, because all the old buildings, the minute you start remodeling those old buildings, and we can come in and reduce the cost by more than half.
When you come into an old building and retrofit it with Puddle, because there are no wires, you can eliminate, when you put a conference room desk in, you have about $25,000 worth of just rewiring and that kind of thing. So it's a really a big savings.
All right, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.